Welcome to the Spin Dash Retro Gaming Podcast. Prepare yourself for the joy of classic gaming, fired straight into your delicate little ear holes. Fire away.
How did you get a blue can, John? Nick, did they have a blue can where you were, Nick?
Yeah.
Really? We only had green up here. We only have the green.
Well, green's I went green because it says premium. So I'm like,
so it's like John Low class?
The one
John's
time
lowbrow.
Nick drinks a fancier beer than me.
I mean, should we start them up, boys?
Wait, don't open yours. Don't open yours.
Oh, we're doing something? I can't drink? God, this is hard. I was so drunk this Saturday and playing golf.
Are you sober enough now to use a pocket knife to shotgun that beer?
I am not shotgunning a fucking beer.
We said that the lowest score had to shotgun.
Son of a bitch. I am,
Maybe like a heavy chug. I'd even tolerate a heavy chug.
I can do a heavy chug. I can't shotgun this beer. What was your score, John?
9,600.
Fuck. Matt, you and your 1-2.
Well, let's how are we gonna start it off, right? I mean, how does one start?
I think
this off?
that only needs to be it. That should be at the end.
Well, I want to drink the beer.
Yeah.
I am thirsty.
I am too, but I don't want to ruin. Now I should have gotten a beer that I can just fuck around with. Now I have a beer that I'm going to waste.
Shotgun the Fosters.
John's a fucking taskmaster. All right, John, I guess kick us off. What is happening? I don't even know how to...
Welcome to Wheel of Fortune, where we have amazing feats of stupidity for your introduction. Nick is about to impale himself with a knife.
Oh, he spurted.
He got a little out of the can. All right.
Almost lost my bet. Oh, there's so much beer on the floor. All right, gotta make
Excellent.
so much beer on the floor. All right, I gotta make a bigger hole.
Attaboy.
There we go.
Oh,
this
no.
tastes as bad as I remember.
Oh my god, I'm drenched with beer. Okay. Fuck.
Oh, my God.
Here we go, folks. Nick is shotgunning a Foster's.
Oh, no.
All right.
I hope he doesn't puke on the floor. This isn't that bad.
Oh, I should have got the green can.
You should have gone premium. Uh-oh.
His face is beet red, folks.
Oh.
That was a good effort.
Yep.
Oh. I'm drenched in beer. I had to change. 1 second.
Well, while he's changing, John, tell us, what are we playing? Why are we playing it? Why did that just take place?
There's a lot to unpack here, folks. So this week's or month's episode, we've definitely slowed our pace down a little bit. Is Wheel of Fortune on the Game Boy, and this is one of the trio of random eBay games we contrived to play earlier this year, I think, where it's a mystery, and one person picks a game at a time, and we space it out in between other actual good games, and we force the others to play it. I think Nick's was Dragon Ball Z on the Game Boy Color.
Advance. Yep.
Yours is still TBD. I'm excited. Or TBA, to be announced, I guess. You know what it is.
To be delivered. To be
right.
To be
there
shipped.
We go. Yep. And mine is Wheel of Fortune because I was not a little bit vindictive because you guys keep threatening these atrocious anime games on me. So I wanted to pick something completely dumb and not in line with how we could do a podcast episode because this game has no real story or substance.
There's no story. There's no development.
Yeah, really. It's based on Wheel of Fortune, created by Merv Griffin. It's been on forever. I think since the 70s.
75, maybe?
Yeah. Everybody knows it for Vanna White, the lovely co-host who got rich off of walking around and pointing at letters and looking hot. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely play this game. Like, I would go on, I've always loved watching random game shows. And one thing I wanted to talk about was top 3, in your opinion, that you've watched or that you think deserve a top 3 spot in game shows.
Hold that thought. So why did Nick shotgun a beer?
Oh, well, this, since there's not a lot of story, I came up with the lowest score had to shotgun a beer. And there's a long history in our circle of friends. And I think it started in like 2013, 2014, when we all played disc golf. And I don't know how we came to the fact that
I think Nick just did it on his own, didn't he?
He tried. He's like, I bet I could shotgun this, because I think he saw we did it once and he thought he could beat me with a regular beer. And then he's like, oh, I'll do this one. And so the 3 of us did it when we were playing disc golf, I think. And Nick barfed in a trash can before the first hole. So there's always been, it didn't go well.
I think the last time that he tried to chug a Foster's was when Paul was recording episode 1 with us. I think Nick had to chug a Foster's that one too.
Yep.
This is like an ongoing.
It's been a long-standing gag of ours and his because he barfs. So it is a mountain he will someday summit.
Beer on my mic. Jesus Christ.
You like the Piano Man. Your microphone smells like beer.
Yeah. Oh.
I was talking to Nikki about what I would have to do if I lost. And I was like, well, I would probably poke the hole outside and then carry the beer into the house. And then, because I don't want to, like, if I stab the thing and it blasted all my games and shit, I'd be pissed. So I was thinking about how I would poke the hole. And then my solution was like, I just can't lose. That's where this came down to.
So you put significantly more time in than Nick and I did.
There he is.
No. I had double check that, make sure nothing went over onto the Wii that I'm taking apart.
Some more trash juice from the dump on it.
Yeah. So are we ready to talk about that? Do we just want to get that out of the way?
I think you have a lot of emotions on this, Matt.
We already covered what we're playing. We already covered what we're drinking. So I guess
what you guys are drinking, I already drank it.
You're efficient.
Yeah.
You're efficient delivery.
Fuckers.
You should have tried harder.
By the way, that premium is not meant
of it.
I say I drank 80% of it, and that 80% is not meant to be shotgun by any means. Premium beer is not meant for shotgunning.
Premium beer, get the fuck out of here.
High test premium.
He's used to drinking PBR.
Are my mountains blue, guys? My mountains are blue.
He's used to PBR. This is an import beer. He's used to drinking PBR. This is the good stuff.
PBR course. I'm gonna bring so much beer to Saturday that I come up for closing up your little camp.
Mm-hmm.
So much PBR, so much.
Yeah.
So what'd you pick up?
I love Matt's face right now.
This was a funny joke for a while, and now it just pisses me off.
Now it is, yeah.
It's getting
gods have shown
absurd
on you. Yep.
Well, one legit pickup I had was the game Genie for Sega.
Yep.
Got it for $13, I think, after shipping. And it came with a game manual. Not many codes in there. Not many games in there. But I think it's because it's the first generation too. So there's 2 versions. of the Game Genie for the Sega. So I have the first version of it. So I'm sure there's a appended mix where it probably added on whatever came out, because that one came out in 1991, I think, 92 or something around there. So I got that because I'm like, oh, I never actually had a Game Genie for the Sega Genesis. I had one for obviously the Super Nintendo. I think I also had one for. I think I actually had one for the Game Boy too. Yeah, I had one for the Game Boy as well.
The Game Boy's cool. It doesn't work on the little guys, but on the original Fat. I mean, I guess it works, but it doesn't fit right.
Yeah, you can get an adapter for the Super Game Boy too, to put in the Super Game Boy.
That would be so fucking absurd looking.
Yeah, I read something about that where you can get an adapter for that one, so that's kind of funny. That was my legit pickup. My pickup that's pissing off Matt right now is a complete Wii system. Has the GameCube controllers on top. Came with about 5 games. Mario Kart was one. Punch Out was another. Chicken Shot was another one. Yeah, and then so maybe it's 4 games.
House of the Dead 1 and 2.
Yeah, House of the Dead 1, 2.
I'd play that.
I
used to love those.
I sent a bunch of swear words at you, and then I just sat there and just was like, I'm coping and seething. Just coping and seething. The dump is ridiculous. Like, who throws away a Wii?
I don't know. I mean,
a working Wii.
Yeah, it works. I'm taking it apart now just to make sure there's no, because they left the transfer station left out in the rain, so it got rained on. So I'm like, oh well, I might as well go through it, make sure the board is dry and there's no corrosion on it, and then I'm gonna take your advice on what I'm gonna do with it is mod it.
Let her bomb that bastard.
Yeah, you don't even have to do anything. You just download onto an SD card. It's a piece of cake.
It's great.
I'll just make it one. I think I'll just make a complete Nintendo library. Game Boy, GameCube, just everything.
Nintendo lets you run GameCube games. That's the ticket.
Yep. You got to get pretty beefy memory cards, right? And I think it has to be legit SD.
You have to use an SD card. You can only use a 32 SD card on the game, the Wii.
Yeah.
Then I think it has where I can plug in a USB.
Yeah, it's got a USB thing, so you should be able to do an external hard drive.
So I might just put attach external with the games on that, and run everything off the SD card. And the
Wii is great for emulation. Like, it's a great little emulation device. Well, I've read about the tests that people check, and they're like, it's better than a Raspberry Pi.
Let's see.
Menu's easy.
Yep.
That was a big draw for me.
Oh, Need for Speed Nitro was other game, so I got a racing game with it too. And then I got I think what it was, did they re-release Donkey Kong Country for the Wii?
No.
So they made Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and it was
Tropical
also
Freeze.
On the 3. Yeah, was there 2? Because Tropical Freeze is on the Wii U, and they put that on the Switch. Because I have it on the Switch.
Okay.
So I had the manual for Donkey Kong Country Returns too.
Gotcha.
So I was kind of hoping that
random manual.
Just random manual. I'm like, I was looking for it. I was like, because I'm like, let me open up the Wii. Make sure, I plugged in the Wii as soon as I got. I'm like, please be Donkey Kong. Please Donkey Kong. I'm like, it's Punch Out. I'm like, well, I guess Punch Out wasn't in this case. But yeah, got a bunch of games.
Fuck off. So
I'll probably end up selling Mario Kart, and because I have already a bunch of Wii controllers, I'll probably sell those too. Make some money off it, then put it towards a game fund.
You should keep Mario Kart. It's decent.
I got Mario Kart already.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah. Do you need a copy?
No, I gave that to you.
You gave me Mario Kart for the Wii?
You fucker.
Well, I got another copy.
Oh shit, John, you got any pickups?
No, I sold some stuff. There was a guy having a yard sale.
Well, you have one.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I didn't even buy it for myself.
Oh, well, technically, yeah, I have another pickup. Wheel of Fortune.
Ah.
No, I mean the game of the week the next week.
Oh yeah. I got that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a nice find. Wandering around, it was convenient. I didn't have to go on eBay and order it and wait a while. Found it at Bull Moose. So
Hell yeah.
Props to them up in Brunswick. Brunswick's good. Man, I miss that town.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got some good Indian food and some good beers.
I got our game of the week next week too. At Sanford Games and Collectibles.
Yeah. I haven't ventured out much to any of those
I totally forgot I got that.
Yeah.
And I'm actually
got
trying
some
to
stuff
get
I should trade.
the Switch version too, by the way, Matt. I'm on a hunt for the Switch version.
That's what I'm playing it on. I figured I didn't have enough time because we're recording tonight, and then I've got to edit, and then I've got to, start it because I'd like to get back on track. I know this is kind of the shit time of year, but,
Yeah, I'm going to probably get that on a Switch. That way I can play it on the go.
Yep.
I mean, it's good to have in my collection, but.
Yep. Yeah, that was my pickup. I also got my cables from China for my weird little experiment. I'm like the kid from Toy Story, just like taping and gluing together toys that don't have any place. Sid.
Sid Vicious.
Yeah, if you take an extension cable for a Super Nintendo controller and an extension cable for an NES controller and hack them up, splice them together, you can use your Super Nintendo controller on the NES. And
so did you put the head on, or did you just create like a splice so you have like an 18-foot cable now?
I cut it short because I didn't want this long extension cable, but I figure I took a foot from one cable and a foot from the other. So one end receives the Super Nintendo plug and the other end plugs into the NES. And there's like 5 wires in each. So you just solder it and then seal it up. But yeah, what's interesting, it looks like shit because I didn't grab the right shrink wrap. And at that point, I wasn't going back out and getting it. And you can't put shrink wrap on after the fact. You've got to put it on. It's got to be on there before you. So it's just electrical tape. My next one will look better. But yeah, it works great. What's interesting, though, is Y on the Super Nintendo controller maps to B on the NES. Maps to B. And A maps to A. A maps to B. Sorry, I get mixed up. So I don't understand why the hell, when they designed the Super Nintendo controller, they didn't just make whatever the Y button was B. That would get rid of so much confusion when you move from NES to Super Nintendo. Why didn't they just put the B where the Y is? We would have no confusion. Just rotate it.
Yeah, because you're thumbing. You don't have to go over. It's just right there.
It's just right there. And that's how like Mario in the NES one, you hold down B and you hit A to jump. And on Super, you hold down Y and you hit B to jump.
Oh, that's so much easier on the Super compared to regular.
Your thumb, I hate, and I've ranted about this on 27 episodes, but I hate any controller that has you can't rocker your thumb. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm looking at you, Genesis. Anything that doesn't have that nice, kind of diamond layout, it makes sense because you can hold down a button and tap the other with the same thumb.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
But what about the 6 button?
But no one uses the 6 button that way. The 6 button would do the trick, kind of like what 64 does, right? I mean, the 64 is essentially a 6 button controller, and you hold down B and hit A like an NES controller, not like the fucking Super Nintendo controller with the Y. So anyway, long story short, it works. It's great. It's a fun little experiment. I was playing some Mega Man with a Super Nintendo controller. It was a good time.
Much smoother, I imagine.
Speaking of, the one thing in the news that from a news source that I should mention, Fan Game Mega Man The Sequel Wars. Fucking awesome demo out for that. So, fan games generally suck. I'm not a lover of fan games. Most of the fan game projects crash, and most of them are just some dipshit is tinkering around with a game, and they make it, and it turns out to be absolute trash based on the original material, whatever. But there's a guy out there, or a team, I think, who is... So they made Mega Man The Wily Wars for Genesis. So it's the first 3 Mega Man on Genesis in a collection. They're working to port 4, 5, and 6 to Genesis in the same way that the Wily Wars was set up. And they're building a whole new engine so it doesn't have the same problems that Wily Wars has with being like slow down. It's built from the ground up. And it's one of those things like, oh man, this project's going to crash and burn. But they released a demo and it's like, holy shit, this is very playable. This is very far along. Like,
do you think they're going to make carts for it?
No. I'm sure people will make homebrew ones that they'll sell. It's designed that it can be put on a cart, but they're doing it as a fan project. So they're not going to sell it.
I've been seeing a lot of fan projects now where people are either remaking or remastering games in some form for their, and they're making their own games and they're putting it in carts. Like they just did, what was I just saw? Street Fighter. They just did a 30th anniversary of Street Fighter on the SNES cart, and there's like 2 different carts. There's this like a straight, I think, black cart, and has a really nice case and everything. Then there is like a glow in the dark cart.
So be careful with the Street Fighter one. So what happens is like Capcom would license out to a company to re-release them. So
that's what they did in this case.
It's an officially licensed product. Unlike this game is a fan product and it's not licensed. So technically they're violating all kinds of copyright shit. You know, I don't care. Have at that. But with the Capcom, they're specifically working with a company to make it. The earlier games in that series, it's not good. It's one of those things like it could burn down your NES. You know, remember the smoking analogy that I gave you last time that you said, fuck it, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
It has that same voltage mismatch. But when they did the Wily War one, so Wily Wars was released on a cartridge by that same way. You know, Capcom licensed it out. They did that cartridge right, and that won't fuck up your Genesis.
Nice.
So,
well, if we're saying some other news, a really cool news, I think. And Grant, yes, I know you like to emulate Matt, but I think this is still just cool in general, is they released the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection. So, great thing with that is, I mean, it's on all the platforms. So you have the NES collection and even going into Turtles in Time and I want to say the Turtles Arcade.
I don't actually know what the collection has. Does it have the Game Boy Advance games on it?
I don't think so. I think it was just it's early stuff. I think it's just I guess what would be our typical time frame when we were playing those games. So let's see.
It does include the Game Boy titles, right? I'm almost positive it does.
Yeah, so let's see.
Okay, so I got it right here.
Yeah.
So it has the arcade. It has Turtles in Time arcade. Oh, that's cool because it has the variants too. So it has Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo. So okay, so you can pick if you want to play the arcade version or the console version.
Yep, arcade game.
What's the difference on that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read good things. Like I heard that it emulated well. But they did a solid on it.
To piggyback on your story, Nick, did you? Because I like to patrol around the Dreamcast forums. Did you see that?
Well, I saw you linked me that thing for the Dreamcast. It's going to be someone's going to put it on the Dreamcast.
So there's someone on the forums who goes by the name Ian Michael, and he's ported a tons of shit to the Dreamcast. Like he's a Dreamcast guru. So he's making his own Cowabunga collection for the Dreamcast because the Dreamcast has emulators that have been programmed for it. So he's kind of making the splash screens and stuff, trying to mimic how it looks on a PS4 or on a Switch 5 or on a Switch and whatnot. That's cool. Shit. So the Dreamcast is getting an unofficial Cowabunga collection.
You and your Dreamcast, you're just a Sega.
I could give a shit about Sega until you get into like Saturn and Dreamcast. Then they become infinitely more interesting to me.
So poor Dreamcast.
Speaking of games, do you want to do our game of the week?
Yeah, we can spend 5 minutes on it.
Oh, man.
So what'd you guys think?
I started rewatching old fucking episodes just to see if I can put my mindset into solving some of those fucking things. I'm like, I don't know.
It's a great game. Hey, I would have loved to have been on the show, but it's like I was never good at crossword puzzles because I don't get some of the references. So just trying to unpack stuff from 30 years ago was not easy. I mean, some of the references or places don't even exist anymore.
I don't know who doesn't know what Wheel of Fortune is, but for the one person who's lived under a rock since 1975, it's basically Hangman.
Yep.
But you spin a giant wheel to get points, and you pick letters, and you have the ability to buy vowels, which I'm going to come back to because I still don't understand that piece of it. There's generally 3 players that get whittled down, and at the end, there's a bonus round. Did I miss anything on you? Have that's basically Wheel of Fortune. It's Hangman. It's a glorified version of Hangman with prizes.
Yeah. If you can go bankrupt. You can get certain. I mean, the game show has far more intricacies than the Game Boy game did. Yeah, I never played against the computer. I just did my own thing.
Wait, you didn't play against the computer when you did the score?
No.
Well, who'd you play against?
I just did me.
Well, fuck off!
You cheating bastard! We should make you chug a fucking thing.
You cunt!
So he wasn't playing against anyone. He just was.
Yeah, I thought just on your own. I don't know.
No, I played against the computer every time. Fucking.
Oh my god! What an asshole! Okay, so I'm scrolling through. Nick, your score was 4,000 something, from what I can tell.
Oh,
it's
I got a new
faded.
one. Here, let me send you the one I did today.
You got a new one?
Yeah, I did this before. I was playing and ignored my kids because who needs them? But
oh yeah, I would laugh if you broke 9,500 and then the whole thing was for nothing. You broke 9,500?
Why didn't you fucking post it, dude?
I broke 90. I'm sorry, no, I only broke 9. 1 second. Let me find a picture. I'm so fucking furious. I'm coughing now. I'm in a coughing fit. Fucking cunt.
I think you wanted to chug that beer. You've done everything in your power.
That was nasty. That beer is not meant to be chugged by no means.
So all these times before, you just
there. My score going against the computer, 9,250.
Oh, so, he's close.
No, you didn't go against the computer there.
Yes, I did.
No, because it just says name and it's just
A.
That's
because that's my screen.
No, it shows the computer. If you look at the old scores,
no, it doesn't. Not when you
high scores.
Not when you beat the game. It does not show it. When at the very end score, it just shows your name because the computer's not playing the fucking last level for 25 grand.
I don't know about that. Mine showed comp because I had Leonard Bernstein and I got the money. I solved it. That motherfucker. You got more than your 1,200. 12,000. See, I didn't get any points. So like that's the thing I didn't like about this. Like if you go to the bonus round, it's like, well, who the hell cares? You get nothing other than the prize. You didn't get any additional points. I'm scrolling through. I want to see this.
Matt still has the high score.
No.
I devoted a lot of time to this game. I think more. I played more in this than I think I did Breath of Fire. Because you floated around that, we have to chug a Foster's, and like I said when we were booting this up, like I don't have to do better than everyone. I just need to do better than one person. Like if I just beat either you or Nick, I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
So there
it is.
I don't know what I'm going to do in this episode because it had no music. So all our episodes we have like brief 15, 30-second clips of like, oh, here's the music to kind of segment thoughts. And there's like one song when you boot the game up and then that's it. There's just
level ends had the same music, or I think it was different than the title, but they all were the same once you finish the level.
You should mix it, Matt.
Pure exercise and minimalism. Yeah, I have to
just put like a tight tempo onto it, and then just drop it.
Give the drop. Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, explain to me this. What did it even make a difference where you put like your gauge for spinning the wheel?
I was going to ask you how the gauge worked on that.
I don't know how it works. I've been trying to find stuff how it works, but I don't get it.
I got it. So if I set it the same, because I hit 1,000 and I kept it the same. So it did it like 3 times in a row and then it changed it. So I think it is not entirely accurate.
Because I was wondering, like, if you were going to make a Wheel of Fortune game, would you hire a jacked person to spin the wheel as hard as they could, find out what the max spin is, and then adjust your gauge? Or do they just like not give a shit and like, close enough?
Right. Yeah. Clearly the development on this was not a serious endeavor.
And the animation, like if you put the gauge to the left or the right, the wheel still always spins clockwise.
Yep. Yeah. Go no power and it still moves. I don't know if you have to do one whole rotation or not, like for it to count in the actual game.
In the actual game, yeah, you had to go around you had to completely go around.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Same with like Price is Right when they spin
you had to still go
wheel
around. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
Like I guess that wheel is really heavy too. I was reading online, like that they make it look hard, and it is as hard as it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see some jack guys like actually like jump up and like try to rip and use all their muscle just to spin that
thing. That thing down, yeah.
Pull a muscle on fucking Wheel of Fortune.
So, John, is your next pick then going to be Price is Right?
You know it.
Are you going to just take a game? No, John's going to just take us to a game show
just
run?
Or the run of game shows.
I'll pick Scrabble on the Wii.
That's not eligible. You're out. There is Clue. Clue is on the Genesis and on the Super Nintendo. Monopoly's on a bunch of them.
Yep. Oh, I used to play Monopoly all the time on the computer. It was easier than setting up the board. Yeah. And then you couldn't cheat.
Well, then that's not
right.
This kind of reminded me that like where phones started picking up like old game show games like this, where you played all these old game show on everything. So it was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, the movements and the timer sucked on this. It was quick. It went by so fast, dude.
And the problem is like the layout. So you had to go and scroll through and pick the letters. Yeah. But the only button that actually did anything was like the A button, which lets you select.
One button.
So like if you fucked up, you'd have to go all the way over to delete and hit it and then go back. Like you've got a whole button B. Let me delete with B. Because when you're going against the time and like it was very touchy. I found like I was hitting letters and it would like double hit.
Yeah, so it wouldn't at all. Yeah. It was janky.
Real janky on the letters.
Yeah.
What did I play? I think I lost one where because I accidentally hit the wrong letter or something of that nature. Like I didn't know the rules. Like I accidentally selected vowel like to start off with after I spend. Like you can't do that. There's like no forgiveness at all.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna be that real. They're like, I'm gonna guess an N. We already guessed N.
Oh yeah, well, you could pick a blank space and it would tell you not to do it or something like that. And I had that happen to me.
Yeah, don't roll 1,000 and fudge it because then you'll never get any points. I got bankrupt
there's a Wheel of
every
Fortune
time I
on
played.
the PS3, by the way.
What's that?
There's a Wheel of Fortune on PS3.
I think it's like on every system. I think it's one of those things.
There's a Jeopardy on a PS2, John.
So that would have stopped in 2002-ish.
It's within
I don't get old references, man. Like on this, the Wheel of Fortune, there were so many things that I was like,
it came out in 1993.
1990.
1990. So everything. So it's everything from 1990. I was 6 years old. I got
that's why we used to play Trivial Pursuit a lot as a family.
Yeah.
I was horrible because it's all
old shit.
Yep. So at camp, you see that we have the additions. So we would cater it to each person to be like, okay, 80, 90s or above, because it's like, I don't know from the baby boomer generation, World War II. I had such a hard time.
Idiot. You don't know Lyndon Johnson's cousin Betty? What an idiot. Everyone knows Betty Johnson.
Oh man. Yeah. So that's why I felt more complete when I would watch Celebrity Jeopardy. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but those questions were fucking dumb.
Yeah, they dumbed it down.
Those were easy. Yep.
You can watch the kids or the high school students version of Jeopardy. Those ones always make you feel good. You're like, I got smarter than you, fucking Poindexter.
But you're not smarter than a fifth grader, because I remember that show coming on.
Oh my god, that show!
That's on the PS2 too, by the way. If you want to play that.
This fucking game. The Vanna White animation was nice.
The animation wasn't bad.
Walk.
Yeah. If you think that's nice, go
There's
watch
actually
the
colors on the
Nintendo.
Game Boy Color.
Oh wow!
What's that?
There's actual different colors on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, it was enhanced. That was kind of nice.
Vanna White on the NES looks good.
They devoted their entire budget
rub one
to
out
Vanna
for that
White.
one.
She'd be worthy. But that was a better packaged game. It just looked nicer, obviously, and so if the eBay price of the NES one was comparable, I would have bought that, but Nick has no way to play it.
What's that?
I bet this sold like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I bet that's why you got it so cheap. I bet there was a ton, because the Game Boy, like back then, like Tetris was the number one game that was advertised to like everyday Joes commuting to work in addition to kids. Like Nintendo they did, their Blue Ocean strategy before that even was a thing. Like they were trying to bring new people into gaming. And so I can imagine a ton of people like your crazy Uncle Harry or something like that.
Look where
Uncle Edward.
Look how I inherited my Game Boy.
Yeah.
Nicole's dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
They would be the target demographic to play Wheel of Fortune on the Game Boy. And it didn't have to be special. It just had to work.
Yeah. Oh, what?
I mean, I will say I do commend you, John, for picking this. I was not expecting you to go like for a game show. Like I wasn't expecting this type of game by any means.
This was in left field, man. I always dangle Mia Hamm soccer, and I threw you off the scent.
Joke's on you, because one of us is picking Mia Hamm soccer.
Oh man, I was just looking for something dumb that would cause
this type of game is perfect. This is actually even more perfect during my busy time, because I could just literally just pick it up for 5 minutes, tool around, and call it a day. So
that's
more
what
of
I played
games.
for was 5 minutes total.
I genuinely enjoyed this game.
What?
Like, it's not well done. I'm not going to say this is a good game by any stretch, but I would sit there and watch TV. I'm like, I put a lot of time into fucking Wheel of Fortune.
Maybe 20 minutes total.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played while we were camping, man. So I might have an hour tops into this.
Oh no, man! I bet I put 5-something hours, 6 maybe. I sit there and play, and what I would do, because the problem is like I would go and like if I hit bankrupt, I would turn it off and start over. I'm like, that's not going to touch John. And then what I would do is like, okay, I didn't get a whole lot of letters in this round. Like, I want to keep picking letters so I keep getting points, because I think you don't want to guess too soon. You don't get the points for that.
No, you play it out as far as you can.
You get 2,000 points for guessing, I think, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, you don't even get that.
I don't think you get anything, do you?
You don't get anything for your guessing it right.
I thought you did.
No, because I would have had a higher score because I guessed it right several times.
And what's the point of vowels? I mean, not like in the fucking sentence structure and making words, but like you have to fucking buy a vowel, right?
And it's $250 for you to buy a vowel.
But you're helping the other guy. So why would you buy a vowel?
You had to do it in the game too.
I did everything in my power to not buy vowels. I would pick every consonant I could just to rack up money.
What consonant did you find the most useful?
R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
I was telling John before you got on, this is an older rule set because I was watching the show. In the bonus round, eventually they would automatically give you R, L, S, T, N, and E. Because as a kid, I would watch it and I'd be like, oh man, it looks like R.L. Stein. Because that's when Goosebumps came out. I'm like, I made that connection. This game didn't give you in the bonus rounds that R, L, S, T, N, E automatically. So I would pick those every time.
You got pretty good there. I kept on picking, like, I got maybe 4. Like, I picked, like, the 5 letters, maybe 2 of them came up, and I maybe get 4 actually letters in the actual thing, and I'll have, like, a 16-letter, like, name. I'm like, well, fuck this. I ain't getting this.
Yeah. Yeah. I
like, do you want to solve it? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to look online and see if there's anything. By the way, there's nothing. You can't find a fucking solution for this game.
No, that's what we should have done. That could be our contribution to gaming is we have all the we played enough of this game that we have all the solutions written down that if someone wanted to tackle it, they can do that.
Game Facts has some, but they aren't all complete.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't have any final solutions too. For the final. Because the final, that's where I'm like, oh, I could use this. No.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Come on, Game Facts. That was my life from 2000 until 2005.
That's, I think, what the last post is for one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn that you got points for guessing.
I mean, you probably should, but you didn't in this.
I
May 27th, 2004 was when this version came out.
God, I love
it. It was
Game
written and
Facts.
compiled by Test Alt.
Chuck Testa.
And his email address, and the email address, so if anyone's listening, if you want to send an email address, is
Don't do that.
Jesus.
at AOL.com.
AOL.com. I'll put it in the show notes. You know what? We will link to the Game Facts for anyone who wants to play the Game Boy version. They'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Absolutely absurd. This was an enjoyable experience. I'll give away the farm right now. It's ranked higher than some other games on the list. So
I didn't rank it too high.
No, Nick dumped on it.
Just a cunt hair higher than the good old Battle of Olympus.
You're terrible. You're a terrible human being. There was no Pat Sajak in this game. That's the other thing that's worth noting. And he's going to retire soon. So, you know what? Maybe this is a timely episode. He announced his retirement. So, like, maybe this could be our episode that gets all the downloads. There's this dormant Wheel of Fortune retro gaming podcast Venn diagram overlap out there that is just craving Wheel of Fortune content.
Yeah. We have to figure out all the answers. We must have a complete list. Dude, they remade it on the Wii and it's $8.
We should all buy it. Because it's a Wii game.
Oh, and you could have a fucking avatar. You could pick your clothes.
John sold.
I love that.
This reminds me of early 2000s online games where you could play against other people in like real time.
Yahoo? A solid online game, and it's actually a good party game. Is I want to say it's a Buzz, I think it was called, and it was on a PlayStation and PS3.
It had the grips,
controller.
right?
You had a controller and you had to press it. You had a different there. That is actually super fun. I remember playing it at my buddy's house, and we'd just get all of us together, It'd just be stupid stuff like how quick you fast person answer always gets the most points. But it was nice trivial stuff. But it was a great party game. Loved it. I think they're actually coming out for the Switch too.
That'd be easy for them to make because it just syncs up with Bluetooth. You could probably sync it up to the PlayStation and Xbox. They won't have to make, a controller for the PlayStation, a controller for the Xbox, a controller for the GameCube. Just Bluetooth it. Easy.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So last minute pickup. Sorry, I totally forgot because I announced this when I got there. I got a PS3 Slim as well with a bunch of games, 25 games for $45.
Oh, you mentioned that in another episode, I think.
Did I?
Yeah,
I think it was because I picked it up the night that me and John went to go see Kevin Smith's Clerks 3.
Wait, this is another set? I thought you already had a wave of PS3 games. No, that was the Xbox. Oh my god, you fucking whore! What did you get for the PS3?
Let me see. I have a whole book of that.
Give me a highlight. I don't need all 25 games.
I don't even know what the highlight is.
A lot of shit titles. A lot of good titles.
Madden.
There's some decent titles in there.
Yeah, you did all right.
It was a couple Uncharted games. What else is there? I actually have a picture of them all. Yeah, a couple Uncharted games.
The story about it is
Assassin's Creed.
Than
and
then
what even better about the story, and I'll add this in because I know where John's leading up to, is we legit sat right next to the guy I bought it off of. His seats were right next to us.
At the showing?
At the Kevin Smith. We sat down, he's like, hey. I'm like, hey. I'm like, John, I just bought this from him. Sat right next to him and his girlfriend.
You should have invited him on the show. The fact that you bought a PS3 off him and you went to a Kevin Smith showing means he was destined. He was destined. Like, you got to come on our podcast. It's terrible.
Yeah, he should be our new friend. Oh, man.
But, yeah. So I got a PS3. It came with 25 games.
Dude, you're flush.
Yeah.
This is offense. Like, there was a stretch where John and I were raking it in, and you're going, I didn't get anything, guys. I'm too poor. I can't buy anything, guys. I hate my life. And then, like, this year, you've eclipsed anything that we've brought in. It's your fault, John. It's your fault because the fucking box on Vinyl Haven. Ever since you gloated, we did all that gloating to Nick about that box, he's gone on a goddamn game rampage.
Yep. I've sold most of that shit now, too.
Bastard. John, you had a bunch of things you want to talk about game shows as a whole. You mentioned that when we first got on, and then Nick was cleaning gear off him and his items and getting nut tapped.
Yeah, it's a rocky start. So, top 3 that you would want to go on.
Oh, go on.
And participate. Okay. Price is Right. Just because I watched that show for so long.
It's been, when we were homesick, man, that was on.
Like, I watched it. I remember spending summers at my grandparents', and it was like my breath of air in between the fucking the soap operas that they watched.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, yes, this, and then news. So I'm like, okay. Gramps falls asleep at news, but I got some Bob Barker just, make sure my pets are neutered and spaded, so we're good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Bob Barker nursed an entire generation, many generations back from sickness. Because you figure, like, you got sick, you stayed home from school, Price is Right is always there for you to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Bob is the reason we're not dead.
What's the other one? It has the guy from. It was it's funny because he acted with Drew Carey. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Is I think Say Anything or something like that. It's where, like, they grab someone out of the audience and they're wearing different costumes. And they're like, "Hey, do you have this in your pocket?" I can't think of it right off the top of my head. Oh, the guy's a comedian actor that did a kind of game show with Drew and the other actors and comedians he did. But, like, say what did you say or something like that. Like, they're given a phrase and they have to go with it and improv off it.
Oh, Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Whose Line Is It Anyways? But it's the other comedian there, bald.
The tall one, or they were
No,
like Ryan and
Brett-
Colin.
No.
Yeah, Colin.
it's the only black guy that's on there.
Oh, Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wayne
he
Brady's
has a game
man.
show that's actually really fun.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
They've really expanded. Like game shows have encompassed so much more. Like there was the one in the summer where you just get whacked, or like you have to jump on the big red balls. You have to make it down.
Oh, Knockout, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's just dumb shit.
Have you watched like Japanese game shows? Like
Dude, what was
those
that-
are a whole
What
different
was that
level.
one that was on like True TV?
Don't
like-
take it. Don't take it. I want to say it.
Go ahead, say it.
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Yeah.
And there's this horrible dubbing, like horrible dubbing. Like you're like, and you're just like, I'm like, now, do you think that show could get a go on air today?
No.
Oh, I
Hell no.
wish. We live in the worst time. And the thing is, like, they repurposed the it's like something Master Something's Castle or something like
Yep,
that.
yep.
And then we took it and dubbed it over, and Most Extreme Elimination. Kenny Blankenship.
Kenny Blankenship. Oh yeah.
When my grandfather used to watch it all the time. Loved
That
it.
was so raunchy and pervy. Like
And
It was on
People-
late at night.
yeah.
It was late at night, wasn't it? Like
it was on Spike TV or FX or
Spike-
something.
FX.
yeah,
again.
one of those.
Dude.
So let's make a deal. By the way, is Wayne Brady's show.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's right. I think I've heard of that one.
I'd do that one. That one looks like fun.
Yeah. We made a drinking game out of Most Extreme Challenge where we would have an order. We draw out of a hat. It was on Vinyl Haven, and we'd be hanging out, and you would get like in order, like, okay, you're up now. And if your person made it, you were safe. But if your guy failed, then you had to drink. So it was just a random order, and you kept cycling through for all the challenges. But yeah, that was
Some
good.
of those. We had a game. You remember Iron Chef, but
Yep.
not the
Yep.
American one with whatever his name is, Alton Brown. He just
Yep.
the dill hole. I mean, like the Japanese one where like
Yep.
they start the title off and the guy eats the apple and he's like real or pear. Or
That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
So the funny thing
Yeah.
is, the American version has the guy's son in it.
does it?
Yeah, that's it's his relative. He says
Ah.
it right there. He actually introduces like like either my father or my uncle. He actually announces at the beginning.
I want to get like Chef Chen Kenichi like tattooed on me or something. I get Chen Kenichi. He was my spirit animal. He's the man. And like he crushed it. He was always one of the because they picked the 3 Iron Chefs. So it's Chen Kenichi. That's a wild tangent.
But
What game shows?
so
Game
I got
shows.
him. Price is Right.
All right. Yep.
3.
Let's Make a Deal, and Family Feud.
Oh,
Oh man, Steve Harvey would rip you a new one. He would have he would just roast you. I'd watch that.
yep.
God, I love Steve
So
Harvey.
I probably wouldn't. I probably want to do Steve Harvey's era because he would just rip me a new one.
Louis
I
Anderson.
probably want to do Louis Anderson.
No. Who's the guy that made out with everyone? You could go on there and just have whatever
jeez.
He's on the Running Man. What the hell is his name?
Richard Conway.
Dawson. Was it?
Dawson.
Dawson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he
he
also do Didn't he also do friggin' the dating game too?
Might
He
have.
might have. That dude made out with so many women on camera and got
Platinum.
away with it. Old ladies, young people, he didn't care. Man,
Peak
it's
70s, man. Nothing.
that
nothing
weird.
was off limits.
It's that weird thing. Like, if he was a young guy, maybe he couldn't have gotten away with it because he's kind of an older guy. They're like, we'll let it slide, pervy old man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, what a wild time. I would
Right.
not want to go on Jeopardy because when I'm in the comfort of my own home, I'll watch Jeopardy. And if I'm doing really well, like I'm crushing somebody on Jeopardy, I like that superiority. Like, wow, what a dumb fuck. I'm so much smarter than this guy on TV. Knowing full and well, as soon as they got a camera in front of me,
Your
I'd piss
butthole is
myself and
hard.
get big
Yeah.
zero. Yep.
I kind of want to change my answers now because I didn't take the fact that there's well, no, I just totally forgot about the kids game shows too,
Oh, Double Dare?
Ooh.
or
Oh.
Guts.
Yeah. The
Or
Aggro
what was
Crag?
the other one? There's the arcade one too.
Nick
Oh,
Arcade.
Nick Arcade.
Yeah. That ties
And
right
then-
into us, man.
That's our sweet spot. Have you seen the one with like Melissa Joan Hart, I think, was on that show, and they had her play Sonic and she couldn't even figure out how to make Sonic run? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's video game 101. What are you doing?
That used to stress me out, man. My neck would start bulging because they were not good at video games on that show.
How about Temple? Hidden Temple.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
The
fucking monkey.
Oh, the statue goes this way. Yeah, this way. Rumor has it that Jackie's husband was on that show.
That's what you said, and I've heard that monkey is hard in real life. That's a
I don't
challenging
know.
monkey.
Yeah, I'd have to go. We'd have to watch it all. Like you'd have to watch.
I'll
everyone.
binge and drink beer until we find Jackie's husband on there.
All right.
Yeah.
You cannot miss that ugly mug.
My boss is on The Price is Right.
No shit.
I heard it's hard to get on though.
He almost won the big prize. He was like off a little bit. He brought in the tape. We had like a bad day at work several years ago. It was one of those like you're down in the doldrums for weeks because just shit is not going right. And he's like, all right, we got to brighten the office up a little bit. I've got this. And he brought in his, I don't know if he had it on DVD at that point, but he had it on VHS. And I was just like, oh my God, this is fucking hysterical. Bob shit all over him.
I think it's less impactful if it was on DVD.
What's that?
I think it would have been less impactful if it's on DVD.
I mean, I would back it up. I'd put it on 15 things. I mean, you're on Price is Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. What decade was that in?
80s. He was on in the 80s. Yeah.
Man. So he was like peak. He was middle age.
Yeah. He's a young guy. He's a college student. He was on that.
Wow.
Yep. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
My grandmother went there and she's like, that stage, by the way, where like you see all the people like sitting up, it's really, really tight and like really small. It's like not comfortable at all to be up there. She's like, it was not fun being there because she waited to be up there and like sit down because she's all about it.
So she must, they hand pick certain people to be in, I think, the crowd or whatever to get called on. Like you have to be interesting to get on that is what I'd heard. So was she wild?
No, she never got picked. She was there though. She got there. She was actually there during taping. I got to be one of the people in the crowd. Isn't one of the guy from Breaking Bad actually played Price is Right?
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
He's on The Price is Right.
There's actually a bunch of actors that actually have done game shows like prior to their fame.
That's hysterical.
Right. I got one.
Yeah.
Way out there. Cash Cab.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was a great show.
Yeah.
Ben Bailey, the man.
Just for him. Just for that repartee that he was so good.
Was he actually driving or was somebody else driving?
I don't know.
That seems dangerous. I wouldn't want to drive in New York while paying attention.
I think I think it was all set up. I think they were like on like a probably a little track or something. Not a track, but what is it? Don't they put them on
a closed course kind of thing?
Not even a closed course. I think they actually drive around like if they're going through there, but they put them on a trailer, like why can't I think of a tow truck?
Oh, so you don't have to. That makes more sense because that
like
seems
really a tow truck with a low, like probably a very low where it's pretty much considered being pulled around.
That makes sense. We went to New York and Nikki was dead set on finding the cash cab. It's like you're not
one G12 or something was the cab license plate. I was looking for it.
You too.
I was repealed. Yep. And then just for like you get in the cab and all of a sudden that fucking thing goes bah! on the ceiling. I'd be like, yeah, because the questions were doable. Like they weren't Jeopardy level. They weren't like you have to be in a crowd. You have to wait. It's just like, and you walk away with cash right there.
Is there a cash cab video game? I'm gonna look that up.
I know.
So
right?
I found a thing of 10 celebrities that were on game shows prior to their fame. Arnold was on before he got super famous.
Arnold.
Stephen Merchant.
I want you to paint my boobies, Jack.
Steve Harvey. I know Steve Martin, Aaron Paul. Apparently, Lady Gaga was on one. And I know about the Star Search. All the pretty much kids are on Star Search because that's when like parents were like slaving out their kids to make sure they become famous. So you had all the like Backstreet, NSYNC.
I am trying to
the cab ride is real.
Wow, he used to be a cab driver, so
he learned. He was a stand-up comedian, and they had him get training to be a cab driver.
It's mostly real. Some contestants get off right at the street. Can you imagine if they dropped you off in this sketchy neighborhood? You're like this upscale rich person, you live in the high life and you get on the cash cab, they drop you off and just
How about this? Because they give you cash out of that, right? What if they're like giving you all this cash, like you won, like you went big, like you walked out with like 25K, but they drop you off in like the sketchiest part of New York where it's like you just come on this cab with a wad of cash, you're like, I'm getting my ass mugged.
It's like that. I'm in danger. The Simpsons meme.
Yeah, Ralph. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that and Guts are pretty high up there.
Global Guts was really good. When they actually went all around the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to pick a physical show just because I think once the camera's on, not that there's a whole lot of brain cells up there to begin with, but once the camera's on, it's lights out. It's not working. Get back to that animal instinct where at least I can run. I can survive something like that.
So you have to do one of the kids one. What was Wild Note Crazy Kids? That was another one?
Wild Crazy Kids, yeah.
Perfect.
What was that one where the celebrities had to guess your secret? Your talent. Do you remember that one?
Oh yes. Yeah. It was with the Olympian there.
Oh, she was smoking. Yeah. I had a big crush on her for a while.
Guess who?
Guess something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, we're going down the rabbit hole.
So I actually do have a ranking.
You do?
I don't know. Do you guys want to do your final thoughts or anything of that nature? I don't know if there's anything.
I mean, this game for what it was like a good 5-minute game. It literally is one of those like pick up and go. Okay, I just want to kill. I don't want to use any real brain cells, but at the same time, you kind of do. But I don't have to be totally invested. You can play this game in like 8 minutes full, and from nuts to bolts.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing.
Yeah, I like games like this. Puzzle games, they're pretty good. I also love that Nick said what he always says, like, it's a good game to just pick up and play for a little bit, because I want to make a meme from Arrested Development with Carl Weathers when he's like, oh yeah, you got a nice stew on there. Nick's like, oh, you got a nice little game there, and it's like him holding like a fucking little Game Boy.
Every game we pick, he does that.
Yep. Oh, it's a nice little pick up and play. Yeah, just
Final Fantasy VIII. It's a nice pick up and play game.
Yeah, 5 minutes. I'm taking a shit.
Hey, you need to find a good game while taking a shit.
Yep.
Oh man, I liked it. It was not particularly well made. There was a lot of things in it that were like, if they had a bigger budget, maybe some more music, maybe some more options, different rounds, different.
Yep.
It had the basics to get you playing a game. The what do they call it? Double bounce or debounce or whatever it is when you push a button and it selects more letters than you really intend to actually hit with a keystroke or whatever you want to call it. That was annoying as hell. The button placement of not being able to delete with a button was annoying as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Small refinements weren't there, but it was Wheel of Fortune. It was a relatively early Game Boy title. It did what it was supposed to do. That's
why I ranked it where I did.
The rankings. So, we last time were too tired and too lazy to rank Breath of Fire. We gave our thoughts on Breath of Fire, but we didn't rank it. So before I rank Wheel of Fortune, let's get Breath of Fire out of the way. It's very odd, the averaging, how it works out. And the reason why it works out this way is because we have a bazillion ties up ahead, which distorts our numbers. So yeah, I put Breath of Fire at number 36. I have it below Star Fox 2, but above Sonic the Hedgehog. I am the low vote on Breath of Fire. Nick, you put Breath of Fire, I believe,
30.
You said number 30, so below Terra Enigma and above Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. John, you put it in your 27 spot, so below Jet Force Gemini, above Star Fox 2. I would be willing to bet any listener out there who put time into Breath of Fire would probably put it where John did, but we go against the grain. Our weird averaging, because we have so many ties, and I double-checked it, it is calculating correctly, it puts it in the 36th spot, so where I picked it.
Wow.
It is below Jet Force Gemini, but above Nights into Dreams. And that's just because we have a ton of games, because of how we've picked things, the averaging, we have a ton of ties that are above it, and it's just where it falls. It's calculating correctly. So number 36, we have very different tastes, and that appears to be playing into the average. Wheel of Fortune, I think we are all in very similar fields on this. I have it because, again, I didn't like it was serviceable, but if you had asked me, would I rather play Claymates or this, I would pick Claymates because Claymates is a game, So it is.
Well, you put more time into this game than you did Claymates.
But I already disclaimed. I already disclaimed that I will spend a lot of time on a terrible game.
Yeah,
it discussed. So it is in my number 48 spot, below Claymates, above Body Harvest.
Wow.
You really need to try fucking hard to get below Body Harvest. I need to be offended and angered.
Is Body Harvest your lowest?
It is, because I was so angry at it, and I don't know if anyone can get below that. I haven't been that angry at a game ever. Just offensively shit. Nick, you put Wheel of Fortune below Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Back from the Sewers, but above Battle of Olympus, because you have wrong opinions. That's a great game. John, speaking of wrong opinions.
Always.
John, you put this below Battle of Olympus, which is a correct opinion, but above Final Fantasy Tactics.
You can't.
So John would rather play Wheel of Fortune for the Game Boy than arguably one of the greatest strategy RPGs ever made. Probably not arguably. Probably just factually.
I think it's actually number one. I think if I remember correctly, it is
arguably one of the best Final Fantasy games. One of the best. You're not going to top the best, but one of the best.
I bet you at least in the top 5 Final Fantasy.
I put it in the top 5. I personally would put it in the top 5.
That is how deep my hatred for strategy RPGs goes.
Well, hold your pants, because there's one on the horizon.
Huzzah! Next year, I know I have a strategy RPG game. I've been touting this for 2 years, and we're going to do it. So,
is it what I think it is?
It's got Bahamut Lagoon.
Yep, that's a good one.
I've mentioned that. So, law of averaging, Wheel of Fortune is in our 47 spot currently. It is below Clock Tower, but above Claymates. So 3 from the bottom. It's an eyesight of Body Harvest, but don't get cocky on that, because when I pull up what the averages are, you need to work real fucking hard to get below Body Harvest. Like it is almost our low pick across the board.
Yeah, it's bad.
We have to all have to pick bottom.
It is my worst. It is your second worst. It is John's third worst. So aggressively, we need a game so infuriating that's going to top that.
I don't think neither of the games I picked coming up are going to do that.
No.
If anything, I might be knocking some of John's games out of their spots.
You're going to be high.
Way at the top. I'm way at the bottom. Nothing. Yeah.
You're in high on mine. You're going to be high.
Yeah. Yep. Both of those. I'd like to see where we are in the rankings of average. I wonder how you do that math.
What do you mean?
For our picks. Like what our average would be.
So individually, who picks what? I can do that up. I'll have that ready for next time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's one thing I do. It's Excel.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Well, John, you had a good run, sir. Breath of Fire and Wheel of Fortune. Both very
down in the
games.
jumps. Yeah. No. Yeah. I like to keep it random. So
but now it's my reign for two games.
I'm excited.
I'm actually pumped.
I love your picks. They're great picks.
Because I always want to play the one we're going to be playing for next week, which is both me and John's and yours pickups. Katamari Damacy. Originally out for the PlayStation 2. It was re-released on the Switch. I think both me and John have it for the PS2. I'm probably going to pick up the Switch version like you, Matt, just so I can have it on the go because I'm going into my super busy season.
Yep.
I've already played about an hour into it, and I'm just in love. It's a fun game.
I think it's going to be high on John's list.
There's so many weird things, John. John, this is going to tickle your fancy.
It is bizarre.
Tickle my fancy.
Oh, it is. Like, you just wait for, like, the music, two, just the word bubbles of just, like, when you hear the Cosmic King talk, you're just going to love it.
I drunkenly called it calamari delicacy just to see if I could piss you off.
That's the next one, and then we'll follow that up with Halo. The OG.
I'm solid. Your pick's rock hard right now.
We have to have a face-off in that game.
How?
We'll figure it out.
So by the time we probably get to that game, would be the end of October.
We might have to.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So
have to expedite
Nick,
a face
we may end up? Do we want to push? Because we got to do a scary game in October.
So we push that off into November, the start of November, which maybe we can get together for a weekend in November, maybe like November 5th, which is also where I'm going to be pushing heavy for Extra Life, which is a charity event I do every year in November to raise money for my local children's hospital. And maybe we can do a special Spin Dash Retro game-a-thon.
Sold.
I was thinking next weekend we might be able to do early Halo and just have it as in our back pocket.
Before everyone comes out?
Yeah.
Or just replay it.
I got 2 controllers.
I have
one of us either me or you can bring out
who's got an Xbox that they're willing to potentially compromise. I'll be honest, I modded my Xbox and I'm real nervous how bad my mod is.
Mine's not modded.
Yeah,
does it read discs?
Pure.
Yeah, it reads everything perfectly.
It's beautiful.
I can bring controllers. I have controllers.
Yeah, I can too. I don't have an. I don't have a copy.
I don't have a copy either.
I do. I have 2 copies.
You're a man. I've got the 360. We could do the 360 version, but that's not the same.
Mine didn't work when we tried it at the bachelor party.
It didn't. It's right. That did.
We had to do Halo 2, I think, right?
We had to, yeah. Yep, it was scratched. Interesting.
Well, thank you guys for all joining us on another useless episode of Spin Dash Retro, where we spoke maybe 5 minutes about a game. Please follow us on all our socials, Spin Dash Retro, and also listen to us anywhere you can listen to a podcast, Spin Dash Retro Video Games Podcast. Thanks.
Yeah.
Have your pet spayed and neutered.
Right.
Fucking wrong show.
R.I.P.
Have your pets tracked.
Oh, John's getting fancy. He's putting apple tags on his.
Yep. I'm overly attached to this guy.
That may have been the most pointless story ever told.
Great.
Nice to have you.